Welcome back to the channel. I'm Greg of the Real G Pops Workshop. In my past few videos, you've seen me make my ultimate workbench, my mobile table saw, and a few other things around the shop, and some things outside of the shop as well. And most of you already know, I have a small shop. So one thing I haven't discussed is storage. So today I'm going to show you how I made some racks for my clamps. I have some mounted to the wall, I have some on French cleats, but today we're going to tell the story of how they got made. Stick around. Every project has an origin, a beginning, a reason to exist. Usually it's to solve a problem. The problem I'm trying to solve in this video is where to store my clamp. I know many of you have tried to solve this problem before, and this is my take. A few months back, I decided to get all my clamps off the floor and out of the corner and put them somewhere. Where? I wasn't sure, but I knew they needed to hang somewhere. So I pulled out some 3/4 inch wood, pulled out the track saw, got my pencil together, and started thinking, how is this gonna work? And then I took that idea to the miter saw. If you're like me, you've either seen or heard about 1,000,001 ways to make racks for your clamps. Well, this was my take. I wanted something simple, quick, and portable. And by portable, I just mean something you can put anywhere, small enough to move from one spot to another. So I thought of a design that used 4 pieces of wood, glue, and brad nails. I figured that was simple enough. Couldn't get very much simpler. So this is my story, the genesis of the clamp racks. And if you know me, you know I have a small shop, which means cleanup is key. Since I no longer need the track saw or any of these other parts, why wait till the end of the project to put them away? It's easier to just get rid of them now and be done. And that's what we're doing. I'll get back to the build shortly. At this point, I'm cutting the smaller pieces that are going to be needed for the clamp racks. It's going to consist, as I said earlier, of 4 pieces and a pretty simple design. And because my plan was to batch out 3 clamp racks at one time, I had a few repeatable cuts I needed to get out of the way. And of course, safety first. At the same token, this should go rather quickly. So today I'm going to make 3 clamp racks. So what I'm going to do first, just to save some time, is do the glue up portion so that while things are drying, we can move on with the other portions of the build. Per clamp, 2 pieces, that will be the back, and they are at a 3/4 inch, and they are 10.5 wide by 4.5, so 10.5 by 4.5. These are going to be glued to each other so that they're 1.5 inches thick. And this time the tops are going to be 10.5 by 7. And then the piece that I'm adding is going to be 1.5 inches by 10.5, and that's going to be on top to cover where I put the screws. So with that said, we're going to start with the glue up. So today I'm going to be using some Titebond 3. You don't have to go super crazy on the glue. It's going to have some brad nails in it to hold it together. So as long as it has coverage, we're good. Give me a second with that. Once you get those lined up, and just for the record, I used 16 gauge 1.25" brad nails to hold my back support together. Okay, now that these pieces are secured to each other, we're going to just let these sit and dry. And now we're going to mark out where our cuts are going to go for the actual ramps on the base top piece. So with that said, again, this is 10.5 inches wide. I'm designing it so that it can have 6 clamps on it. So what I'm going to do spacing wise is I'm going to make the first one 1 inch out. I'm going to go 1.25 inches over. And then from there, another 1.75 inches, another 1.75 inches. And just for the sake of symmetry, I just do the same thing the other way, although you could just keep going. There's nothing wrong with that. So 1 inch, 2 3/4, 4.5. So that'll give you center mark on the board roughly right about there. So what I want to do is, let's say about 4.5 inches down. That is where I'm going to draw a line for the spot where I'm going to drill the holes. So based on the markings that I made, we're going to line them up with that line. And with a Forstner bit, I'm going to make sure that's straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clamps. So we're going to do all 3 pieces like this. So now I'm going to use a 3/4 inch Forstner bit to put 6 holes into the board that we just marked. And this is going to be used to cut out the slot where the clamp is going to hang. So I put a sacrificial board down. Also helps control blowout. And then we're going to make our 6 holes. So when you're done, you have a board that looks something like this. Okay, so now it's time to cut out our slots where our clamps are going to slide into. So remember, each hole is 3/4 inch. The center of 3/4 inch is 3/8. Since these are going to just be F-style clamps, we don't need the largest opening. So the actual opening is going to be a 1/4 of an inch. So you find the center at 3/8, make a mark on 1/4, a mark on 1/2, and then what you're going to do is take your square and you're going to draw a line from the circle you made with your Forstner bit on that 1/4, on that 1/2, and we're going to take a jigsaw and cut this out. So wash, rinse, repeat on all the holes that we have, and then we'll be on to the next move. So with a little movie magic, what happens is you wind up with a piece like this. In a second, you'll see what it looks like when we're done. Okay, so now before I go any further, before I cut my slots out, I'm going to take a router and give it a 1/4 inch round over on the holes before this gets disturbed. So I just think it's cleaner that way. You don't have to even pull your router out, but if you have one, you might as well smooth the edges out. And if you don't, do not worry about this portion of the build. Okay, now that we have our holes rounded over, we are going to cut out our slots where the racks are going to slide in. So I'm going to pull out my jigsaw. At this point, what you should have is a piece with the 6 holes, the 6 slots. As you saw earlier, you can use your square or you can freehand it and you'll get just as good an outcome in most cases. So at this point, we're almost ready to sand, clean this up, and then attach it to our back base. So let's get moving on to the next step. Okay, at this point, you should have 3 pieces. You should have what's going to wind up being the top piece, the piece that's going to be the back, and then you're going to have the part that's going to hold the clamps. So we're going to attach the top to the backing. We're going to glue, put a couple of brads in there to hold it, then drop some screws, and then we're going to put this piece on top like so, and just drop a couple of brads and some glue just to hide the screws that are under. This is strictly for aesthetic. You don't even need this part. You could just glue and screw and be done. But I'm going to do this, put a little round over on it. As you can see, we did a round over on our holes and across the front. So you put some finish on it. And of course, it's not perfect. This is basically just shop furniture. So it is going to be nice once it's done, but does it have to be perfect? No, not at all. It doesn't have to be. So next up, we're going to assemble this. And at this point, technically, we're finished, but Like I stated, I'm going to put this across here, cover it up, put a round over on that just to clean it up a little bit, just because I want to. It is not necessary, not required part of this build. Just use my patented glue spreader this time since we're just going for the speed here. Again, we'll just make sure everything is flush on all sides. I still had that. I'm gonna put some 18s. I'm gonna fill these in, but I'm gonna put a round over on this, and then once we sand it, put a little color on it, she'll be done. So at this point, wash, rinse, repeat. We're gonna do this to the other two, and I'll meet you back here once they're all done. Okay, it's round over time. I'm going to put some DAP plastic wood in the holes left from the brad nailer. Sand that down, and then just some of the imperfections. And this isn't sponsored, it's just what I use. It works pretty well. So we finally reached the end of this product. So this is what it looks like when it's covered in Danish oil. It's soaked right in, brought out the grain. Actually came out very well. Looks really nice. Looks really nice. So again, these can be mounted anywhere, together, separately, but each one of these gives you a capacity to store at least 6 clamps. So right here we have 18 that we made in short order, and they are ready to go. Two hours later, I know I said that projects have a genesis, and they usually have a terminus, an ending. But do projects ever really end? A lot would say no. And this project, although it ended, didn't end. Because 2 hours later, I said, hey, let's try something else. We're not done. And that's where we're at now. I figured we have some unused real estate right here, and why not think of a spot to put a couple of more clamps? So I drilled 3 more holes, and I created space to put a few more items. And while the Danish oil was nice, I decided to stain it at this point. And I think that was a good decision. You'll see. So this is where I keep two of the racks from the video. These two are on French cleats. They fit this unique space between cabinets, and it actually works out perfectly. So again, with 6 slots on each, I can store 12 clamps in this particular area, and I can show you where I have the third one mounted on the wall. The third rack from this most recent project is attached to a cinder block wall with Tapcon screws. It resides in an area with racks from a previous project. These help me utilize a small space next to a cabinet. These racks each hold between 4 and 6 clamps each. So it's a great utilization of space. And if you have to spread your clamps out over multiple areas, this is a great way to do it. So thanks for making it this far. That was a neat little build. For my unique shop, being that it's rather small, that worked out perfectly. The ability to spread my clamps out over several different spaces works out great for me. So if it inspired you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.